left Money in the Bank as WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and Roman Reigns has finally been defeated. But first we have some sad news as a former WWE and ECW wrestler has passed away. Prior to last night's tapings of Friday Night SmackDown, news broke that Darren Drozdov, aka Droz, had passed away at the age of 54, with WWE releasing an official statement from his family as well as showing a graphic at the start of the show. The statement would read, "We are sad to share our beloved Darren passed away this morning of natural causes. There are no words to convey the deep sense of loss and sadness we are feeling right now. Darren, affectionately known as Droz, was involved in a tragic ring accident while wrestling for the WWE in 1999 that rendered him a quadriplegic. Droz maintained a championship mindset and lived every day to the fullest, even though he was unable to move from the neck down for the past 24 years. His own words sum up his relentless positivity in the midst of adversity. There is always another day. Just because I'm paralyzed and stuck in a wheelchair doesn't mean my life is over. I've learned to live again and my life is far from over." We lived this journey with him over the past 24 years. We were always there through the good times and the bad and provided him with our unconditional love. We would like to extend our deepest appreciation to everyone, all his fans, teammates, colleagues and friends for all the love and support he received over the years. You all gave him meaning, purpose, and something to live for. The statement would also thank WWE for their support over the years, which allowed him to receive the proper care and treatment since his accident. Prior to his run as a wrestler, Droz played football at the University of Maryland before making it to the NFL, where he played for the New York Jets, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Denver Broncos. He would then debut in the then WWF in 1998, playing a prominent role in the infamous Beyond the Mat documentary before retiring in late 1999. And next, some top AEW stars are being advertised for AEW All in London. On August 27th, All Elite Wrestling head across the pond for a huge show at Wembley Stadium in London, a show that has already sold more than 65,000 tickets at this point. Yesterday, a brand new poster would appear for the show, this in the UK newspaper Metro, which may have revealed some of the names that will be at Wembley. The most notable star in the advertisement is no other than CM Punk, who recently made a return to the company after a controversial absence. Joining him is CMFTR teammates Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, as well as Samoa Joe and AEW TBS champion Chris Statlander. Another notable star on the poster is England's own Pac, who hasn't been seen on AEW television since the Death Triangle's Best of 7 series with the Elite for the AEW Trios Championship at the start of the year. This likely means that Pac will be back on screens at some point in the weeks ahead, this after recently recovering from a nose injury that forced him to wear a protective mask. And now let's move on to another huge London event, WWE Money in the Bank, which went down today. The show would kick off with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which was an opportunity for a title shot anytime, anywhere. The battle would feature Damian Priest, Santos Escobar, Shinsuke Nakamura, Butch, Ricochet, Logan Paul, who was the clear villain of the match, with LA Knight being the clear fan favourite amongst those in the O2 Arena. In the end, boos would erupt as the megastar Knight was knocked off the top of the ladder by the Judgment Day's Priest, who was the one to unhook the briefcase for the victory. Despite having been mostly unsuccessful in singles action this year, this marks his first pay-per-view win of 2023. Next up, Money in the Bank would see new champions crowned. The show would see the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships up for grabs, this when longtime best friends Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler put their titles on the line against former champions Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who never lost the belts that were vacated following an injury to Morgan. The finish would see a surprise turn, this when the Queen of Spades attacked her own partner with a Kirifuda clutch before leaving her helpless in the ring. This allowed Liv to take advantage of the situation, securing the win and winning the titles back. The match ends Baszler and Rousey's 33-day reign, which started on the May 29th edition of Monday Night Raw, having since unified the WWE and NXT Women's Tag titles with a win over Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Elsewhere at Money in the Bank, a major return would take place. Another championship match would go down in London, this when Gunther returned to European soil to put his Intercontinental title on the line against former US champion Matt Riddle. In the end, it was the ring general that would be left standing tall, as a series of chops to the ankle and an ankle lock would be enough to make Riddle tap out. However, it was what happened after the match that made the headlines, as during the celebrations, Drew McIntyre made his return to WWE, this for the first time since WrestleMania in April, where he would fall short in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. He would then take Gunther out with his eyes clearly on the Intercontinental prize once again. Perhaps Drew could be the one to prevent Gunther from breaking the Honky Tonk Man's all-time longest Intercontinental reign, something he is less than 70 days away from doing. And speaking of returns, an even bigger one would take place later in the night. Following Cody Rhodes' win over Dominic Mysterio, the crowd were anticipating which match would be next. This before some surprising music would hit. The music in question was that of John Cena's, who much like Drew McIntyre was making his first WWE appearance since WrestleMania, an event that saw the multi-time world champion on the losing side of a match for the United States Championship against Austin Theory. Cena would then address the rabid London crowd, telling them how much the WWE office underappreciate them, this before teasing a WrestleMania in England, something that received a gigantic pop. Cena would then soon be interrupted by Australian Grayson Waller, who instead suggested that his home country would be a better location for WWE's biggest event, before he was taken out by an attitude adjustment. The tease of WrestleMania in England is certainly interesting, as it feels like something WWE wouldn't do if it wasn't in the plans. With that said, the location for Mania 40 in 2024 is already set for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. However, there is open slots for WrestleMania 41 and 42, with 43 scheduled for Nashville, Tennessee. But do you think WrestleMania England is in response to AEW All in London in Wembley Stadium? Let me know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the women's Money in the Bank match, one that ended with a creative finish. The women's ladder match would pit Becky Lynch, Zelina Vega, Io Sky, Bayley, Zoe Stark, and Trish Stratus against each other, with the briefcase hanging high above the ring. The close of the match would see Bayley push her Damage Control teammate Io Sky off the top of the ladder, something that came back to bite her. As Bayley and Becky Lynch fought over the chance to climb the ladder, Sky would manage to lock both competitors together with handcuffs, preventing them from climbing any further, with Io ascending above them to become Miss Money in the Bank 2023. The result not only awards a title shot to Io Sky, but it also teases potential frictions within Damage Control, something we'll likely see develop over the coming weeks. And next up, who left London as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion? Seth Rollins would defend his recently won title against the first ever Universal Champion Finn Balor, this with the possibility of a cash-in from the latter's Judgment Day stablemate, Damian Priest. It was in fact an appearance from Priest that helped decide the result, as a momentary distraction caused Finn to hesitate on the top rope before a coup de grace, leading to a stomp and a pedigree from Rollins for the 1-2-3. With that said, there would be no cash-in on the night, although this would tease yet more tension in another WWE faction, with Priest potentially set to leave Judgment Day in favour of JD McDonough, who Balor has been scouting for some weeks. Money in the Bank would be headlined by more faction warfare in the match billed as the Bloodline Civil War. Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, would find themselves across the ring from their brother Solo Sikoa and their cousin Roman Reigns, who had vengeance on his mind after the twins' recent decision to no longer acknowledge him as the tribal chief. The finish of the match would see Solo attempt a splash onto Jimmy through an announce desk, although he would move just in time, taking Sikoa out for the time being. This opened up the chance for double team offense on Reigns, with multiple double super kicks landing, before another knocked Solo off the apron, taking him out for the final time, with a splash from Jay being enough to score the pinfall victory on Roman. This is the first time in 3.5 years that Roman Reigns has been pinned, with the last time occurring as far back as December 2019. This likely now positions Jey Uso as the rightful #1 contender for the Tribal Chief's undisputed WWE Universal Championship, as the Bloodline saga continues to reach new levels. And before you go, make sure you check out my CM Punk playthrough of AEW Fight Forever's Road to Elite Career Mode.